My mother passed away when I was 7 years old, and she was 31 years old, and that was the beginning of my glow being dim. Even before there's awareness of what the trauma is or what the anxiety is, I think there has to be awareness of what are the lies that you keep repeating. People say stuff like, "I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough," or "Nobody loves me." And no matter who you are and what you think, you will become a product of what you believe. And then you'll go, "Well, I accept this as my lot."
How do we figure out who we are?
My father used to say these things that I thought were crazy when he was saying them as a kid. Well, if you don't start, you won't start. We start talking about disciplines, people get nervous. They get nervous because they go, "Okay, now I've got to change my whole life. I don't know that I'm ready for that."
Hello, and welcome to Keep Shining. I'm delighted today to have with us a very special guest. Daryl Black is joining us today. He is a pastor with over 30 years of ministry and leadership experience. He's a national speaker, and he's really good at blending biblical wisdom with practical life strategies. He has just written a book called You're Not Crazy, Everybody Gets Anxious. Not only is he a pastor, he's a musician. He's been on the X Factor. He is an athlete, did some time with the Harlem Globetrotters. He's just an all-around great guy, and I am delighted today to introduce to you the executive teaching pastor at Grace Family Church and a very good friend to Deb and me, Daryl Black.
Keep shining, be a light. You were made to be a lighthouse, shine bright. Keep shining, be a light.
Hello and welcome to Keep Shining with Stuart MacMillan. I am delighted today to have my friend, Daryl Black with us. Daryl and I have known each other for a number of years now. He and his wife Tracy have become really good friends, but more importantly, great leaders, great mentors, great coaches. And so, Daryl, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are today. Tell us about your family and what excites you.
First of all, let me say that it is my pleasure to be on this with you. You have become an incredible friend to me and my wife, and we're excited that God orchestrated our relationship and put us together.
Mhm.
And so we're looking forward to what else God is going to do through us communing together. But let me start by saying I'm a husband, I'm a father. Tracy and I have been together for 30 years. I believe we're going to be celebrating here 29 years of marriage
Wow.
next year in February 24th. So we've been together a long time. We have 5 children, and all of them are almost adults, and I can't wait. Uh, and so I'm excited about that. For those of you that may not know, I'm a preacher's kid, so I grew up in church, pastor's background. I'm a musician. All of my family are musicians, and so I got to travel very early in age, traveling around the world, really playing music and singing and backgrounds for people and being a musician for people, and did a lot of that traveling and touring, but also was always committed to as best as I could what God wanted me to do. And so knew that I was called into ministry at a very early age, ran a little, ran away a little, but didn't run too far, but
Little
ran right
Jonah,
back.
little
Oh yeah.
Jonah
Oh
didn't
yeah,
get in
most definitely.
not in the belly of any whales, but
No,
uh,
no, but I got into a little trouble though. But yeah, did that and then God hooked me and I surrendered and I've been running for Jesus since then. And so I grew up in St. Louis and went from St. Louis to move to New York, and then New York to New Jersey, and then to California. And then now we are in Florida. So I am the executive teaching pastor at Grace Family Church here in Tampa, Florida.
well, let me just say that you are our pastor, our teaching pastor, and Deb and I have attended Grace Family Church for a number of years. I think, Daryl, one of the things and one of the reasons actually I wanted you to come on is because you are indeed a teaching pastor, but you have the ability to take scriptural wisdom and teach us how to apply it pragmatically to our lives. And that's not always the case. So, like I said, I'm delighted to call you friend, but I'm also delighted to sit under your teaching on a regular basis. because it is so pragmatic. Now, you talked to us a little bit about where you've been. There was a little basketball in there too, though, wasn't there?
There was a little basketball in there too. Not only did I play in high school and did very well, and then I had a little small stint where I was with the Harlem Globetrotters. And so did a little traveling with them. So that was fun. Hard but fun.
Hard but fun. I promise not to use your audition for X Factor on this podcast. I promise.
It's amazing how unless people follow me on social media, it's pretty amazing that people don't know that I'm a worship leader too. And so have been my whole life. I love singing, love leading worship. I love entering to the presence and inviting people. My family had been encouraging me for years to do a talent show. The Voice, American Idol, all those things. And I don't like talent shows. It's never really been my thing. And even more than that, I hate standing in line. So I definitely didn't want to do it. But at the encouragement of my wife and my children, I went and did it. And I ended up making it on a show called The X Factor. And so you can go and check it out. I'm not even going to tell you what happened. Anybody that's listening, you can go and check it out and see what happens.
Well, there you go. So there's a little homework for you.
Yeah, we'll do another episode and we'll talk about that experience.
So the other thing that Daryl and I have been able to do together for a period of time over the past 8 months, we had something here called the Lighthouse Keepers, and Daryl acted as kind of the chaplain to the Lighthouse Keepers. And Daryl, while being a lighthouse is something I talk about a lot. I talk about the need that people have, specifically not to be shown the destination, but to be shown the way. And that's become more and more kind of relevant to me. A lighthouse doesn't light up the entire ocean, right?
Yeah.
It lights up a way to safety. You and I, as men of faith, also have used the Bible verse over and over. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. And that lamp isn't showing us the entire journey. It's showing us the next steps. Yeah. And I've been impressed over the years. A lot of the messages that you deliver talk about doing the next thing, about taking the next step. But as lighthouses need to be fueled. They, in order to stay consistent, a good lighthouse stays consistent. And one of the things that that I'm doing right now is I'm actually in the process of writing a book called How to Keep Shining in a Cloudy World. I haven't quite finished the title because maybe it's not a cloudy world. Maybe it's how to keep shining in a world that seems cloudy. Irrespective of that, there are many, many things that cloud our light. And so, you're a very bright guy. You're positive, you're effervescent. Tell me about some of the things that might cause someone like you to lose their glow.
Oh, man. That's good. To lose your glow. That's good. How do you lose your glow? That's good. I think there are a couple of things. I think there are the subtle things that people lose their glow that they don't think about. And then I think there are the big things. And so I'll start with the big things. I think the big things are things like trauma or pain or trials. And I have a book coming out here in this fall called You're Not Crazy. Everyone Gets Anxious. And so the heart of that book starts with me really understanding where my anxiety came from. And it's something that I've wrestled with and overcome for years. But I understood where it started. And it started with my mother passed away when I was 7 years old. And she was 31 years old. And that was the beginning of my glow being dimmed. And while I didn't understand, I didn't even know to call it trauma at the time. I didn't know what I was going through. But as I got older and I was able to understand and recognize those things, that's one of those things that will dim your glow when you don't know or have the resources to handle the trauma that you're in. And so that's one of those big things. And so that's something that I talk about. That's something that I coach people through. That's something that I'm really, really excited to share and help people have real tools in those big things. And when you lose somebody that's important, that's close to you, man, it could take you down the spiral that you weren't even prepared for. And so that's the big stuff. And I'll say the big stuff is whatever trauma like that, losing a loved one, losing a friend, losing your job,
Yeah.
losing a house, something,
mhm.
having a sickness. Those are the big things. But then there are the things that aren't as noticeable, like people pleasing and perfectionism.
Mhm.
That will dim your glow just as much as something that is traumatic. Social media comparison, or just compare yourself to somebody anyway. Comparison kills people. Lack of boundaries will dim your glow. If not knowing what to say no to and not knowing what to say yes to. And as I said before, like the untreated wounds and untreated emotional trauma. And I think one of the biggest things is a spiritual disconnection. Not being connected to God and then not being connected to the right people.
Right.
And so all of these things will dim your glow. And so thank God that we have the Bible, which is a great resource for us that not only walks with us through the darkness, but also pulls us out of it as well and gives us the tools to stand strong in the middle of it.
That's great. That's great. It's interesting because I'm not an expert, and I'm sure you dug a little deeper as you went to write this book about anxiety and what causes it. I'm sure you did research because I know you very well. I think the first step to that is actually recognizing what it is that's dimming your glow, right? Like sometimes we don't actually know. And then the next step, it's one thing to say, oh, well, I'm anxious. So that's causing me some challenges. The next step then is, well, how do I deal with that? And I understand that you have you have some habits of the highly called.
Yes.
And are those antidotes to some of these glow dimmers?
Yeah. And that's good. Now I'm going to use that habits of the highly called. So I'm copywriting that right now. I would say, and you already mentioned it, awareness is the first step. But even before there's awareness of what the trauma is or what the anxiety is, I think there has to be awareness of what are the lies that you keep repeating. Because sometimes we can't identify immediately, oh man, it came from, my mother passed, or it came from, this trauma I had as a childhood. You can't identify those immediately, but you can identify immediately what are the lies that you keep repeating. And that's where it begins, where people say stuff like, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough, or nobody loves me, or no one knows.
I'll never amount to anything. Or,
yes. I'm
old
always
words.
failing. It's all of those things. That's where it begins. It begins with, let's start examining these lies. I think it's 2 Corinthians chapter 10. It says that we're supposed to take every thought captive. And if you're going to take something captive, that means you're going to interrogate it.
Right.
You're going to ask it questions. Why are you here? How did you get here? Where did you come from?
Right. And how do I send you back there?
Yes. How do I send you back? Because most of the stuff that we encounter when it comes to anxiety, it is the lies that we keep telling ourselves. And somehow we keep affirming the very lie, because, you'll say, man, I'm not good enough. And then you'll fail in something. And then you go, see, I told you.
Yeah. It also provides an excuse too, right? Then we become a victim. We become a victim of that anxiety because we use it as an excuse. See, I said I wasn't good enough, so I'm just proving myself right. And so then I don't even have to try eventually, right? Like I just wallow in my own victimhood. So
yeah, and no matter who you are and what you think, you will become a product of what you believe.
Right.
So if you keep believing that you are less than, you will that's how you'll live your life.
Yeah, you will be less than, right?
Yeah, you will be less than, because that's the life that you will live. You'll accept less, you'll do less, you'll require less. And so, because you think, I'm not worth it anyway, so this is the life that I have. And then you'll go with, I accept this as my lot. And that's not true. And that's not true for any of us. And so God has called us to more. And so, but we have to change the way we think. This is Romans 12:2. be renewed by the transforming of your mind. You got to renew your mind. And
Break
so
the
if
cycle.
we don't start there. Yeah, if we don't start there, everything else will crumble.
So as a speaker, I'm going to say speaker, as a musician, as an athlete, all those things require disciplines, right? They require a certain degree of discipline, and I know you to take care of your vocal cords. I know that you read vociferously before you speak, just so you're all backed up. I know that you take care of your body. So tell me, what kinds of disciplines, and I don't want to give away your whole book, but you might tease us a bit. What kind of disciplines, apart from recognizing where the anxiety comes from, what kind of disciplines can you suggest that people might want to take a look at before they read your book and then confirm after they read it?
Oh, good. Oh, this is one of my favorites. I think sometimes when we start talking about disciplines, people get nervous.
Yeah.
They get nervous because they go, okay, now I've got to change my whole life and my entire schedule. And I don't know that I'm ready for that. And I tell people the same way that I learn how to play music, or the same way that I instruct people on whether it's music or sports or whatever that is, when I'm training people, I say small bites. Always start with small bites. I've talked to people that said, man, I would love to sit down and read the Bible, but I feel like after reading the Bible for 5 minutes, I get sleepy, or I feel like I'm an imposter. And I say, well, then don't read the Bible for 5 minutes. Read it for 3.
Right.
Like you have to start somewhere to build the muscle to where you want to be. Because when you start working out, you had to go say, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds. You're not going to go to the gym tomorrow and work out for 10 hours. No. How about you just walk to the mailbox? How about we start there? How about you just make a commitment that, hey, every day I'm going to walk to the mailbox and back to the door. It may take you 30 seconds to do it, but that's 30 seconds, something you weren't doing before.
I heard someone talk about the discipline of going to the gym, and in order to teach somebody who never went to the gym, I think, if I recall, their first thing was drive to the gym.
Yeah.
Drive to the gym. You don't even have to go in. Just get up, get in your car, drive to the gym. You can park outside. You can sit there for a bit and then go home. But it's like what you're saying. Like you gotta start with something, right? You gotta start with some kind of action.
My father used to say these things that I thought were crazy when he was saying them as a kid. But when you get older, you go, yeah, that makes sense. And stuff like, well, if you don't start, you won't start. And you go, yeah. You're like, yeah, that's true. And so I would tell anybody, just start and then be consistent, make a decision. And when you fail, because you will, start over. I had a friend of mine call me the other day and he says, hey man, I really want to know scripture the way that you do. Where do I start? And I said, start with one verse. Man, I want to read a whole book of the Bible. No. Pick one verse. That's it. Pick one verse. That could be your favorite verse, and memorize that verse, and then write that verse down, and then begin to live that verse. Find ways to use that verse in your life. That's the way I've memorized scripture, because it's living to me. So I find ways to put it into my life. And so just start with one thing and then do what we call compound interest. And so then over time, it will build and it will get stronger and stronger and stronger.
And the interesting thing is, many of these disciplines, they just then become habits, and they become things we can't live without, right? Like,
yes.
I know probably 10 years ago, I started saying, when I get up in the morning, I'm going to read the Bible, I'm going to pray, I'm going to spend some time away. I feel like I've missed 3 meals when I don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's how my day starts now. It's a habit. It's not, it doesn't feel like a discipline anymore. It just feels like a part of who I am and what I do. You know, that's who we are.
And because of who you are, you do what you do. This is why you have to strip away what the lies are, because it's easier to do what you do when you know who you are.
Oh, that's good.
That's so much easier. If you spend all your time on just the doing and not the being, then you'll miss the point. But if I wake up every day and I'm going, I'm an athlete, then I'm going to do what athletes do. Athletes aren't lazy. They don't sit around. I'm I'm a theologian. What do theologians do? They read books.
Read.
Apologists, they read books.
Yeah.
I'm a speaker. I'm an inspirer. I'm an encourager. So I encourage people. So it's easier for me to do those things and build those habits. Why? Because this is just what I do. This is who I am. And I'm responding out of who I am.
But that's cool because we talked a few moments ago. If you don't have the right context for who you are, like if you're listening to lies, if you're fearful, then you don't have the right identity, and you can't be who you are out of your identity, or you can't do what you need to do out of your identity if you're kind of mixed up as to who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the best way, do you think? How do we figure out who we are? And we haven't talked about this. I'm just sitting here talking with my buddy going, how do we figure out who we are?
The best way, and I'm not going to speak on this like I'm the master of it. I'm going to just tell you, tell you what I did.
Yeah.
The best way to figure out who you are is to look to your father.
Interesting.
What has your father said about you? And I'm not talking about your earthly father. I'm talking about your heavenly father. What did he say? Even if you don't feel like what he said, he is the one who set the pattern. He is the one that gives us the identity.
And
what does he say about me?
That's great. Yeah.
So I've got to listen to him. And not only do I have to listen to him, I have to repeat what he says about me.
You are loved, right? You are mine, right? You are worthwhile.
You are chosen. Yeah. You are peculiar. You are royalty. You are set apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so great. If he's saying those things about me, then that's who I am, which means I'm not what I feel. I'm what he says.
That's really
because
good.
I cannot feel like it. Like I can wake up one day and not feel like preaching.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that that's not what I am. I can wake up and not feel like I'm loved, but that doesn't mean that's not true. So I have to operate in what my identity is and what my father calls me, even more than I operate in my feelings. Because feelings will lie to you.
Yeah, feelings trip us up all the time.
I mean, Jeremiah says the heart is deceitful above all things. And so it's like, I can't trust myself, but I can trust him. And so what does he say about me? And I just have to keep repeating that thing over and over again until it's louder than every other voice in the room. I heard somebody say it like this. If someone came up to you right now and said, man, you're a real butterfly, you would go, no. It wouldn't even offend you. You wouldn't know what to think because you go, well, I'm not a butterfly.
No.
It doesn't mean anything to you because you're not a butterfly.
Right.
And I think in the same way, those words mean something when they are something. And so if God is saying you're royalty, that should mean something to me because my father is saying it to me. So I am. So when someone says I'm not what he says, I don't even get offended because it doesn't mean anything to me. My father says I'm royalty. He doesn't say I'm a butterfly.
Right. Right. So you just got to be listening to the right voices because there are so many voices out there. Listen to the right voice. It's interesting though, knowing you as I do. If people ask me about Daryl, I'd say he's really positive. He's energetic, charismatic. But I also know that you also have kind of spiritually dry times or times when you're off track. So how do you handle that? Are we talking in a circle here where the answer is to go back to who I am, or is there another discipline or another idea you have when you get off track, when you're not being who you know yourself to be?
Yeah. Look, bro, it's interesting that you say that I'm positive. I wouldn't define myself as positive.
Really?
I don't even know that my wife would define me as positive. I have a good outlook. I'm probably more realistic in the sense that I just believe that God's going to handle it. It's not so much that it's positive thinking for me more than it is, man, I believe in God. I just believe he's going to take care of it. And so there's that. But dude, there's times where I'm off. I'll go off by myself. I know I've got to go and I've got to plug myself into an outlet and recharge. It is
Fuel up.
Get away. You're out of
Yeah.
rhythm, man.
Yeah.
You're out of rhythm. You're not saying the right things. You're not doing the right things. You're not acting the right way. You're not thinking that right way. So I have to go take what I call mini vacation and let me get away from everybody.
That's absolutely great advice. Take a step back. Some people, especially, people who are type A personalities or, successful, they don't think they have time to take the time. Right.
Mhm.
But what they don't realize is if they keep heading down that path, right, if they keep operating out of a place where they're not right, eventually they're going to have to take huge steps back because things are going to fall apart. So that's great advice. Take some time back. I mean, it could be a weekend. It could be a couple hours.
Everyone has time to take time.
Yeah.
Everybody has time to take time. Even when we don't think, oh man, I've got this business deal and I've got this thing and I've got kids. Listen, I've had them all. In the entire lives of my 5 children, I've always had 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs.
Yeah.
But you got to take time. And so taking time may not be a vacation. It may not be 2 days. Hey, I'm going to sit in the car for 20 minutes with no one else around and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going on a mini vacation. I'm not thinking about bills, kids, stress. This is just me and God rejuvenating. That's all I'm doing. And I've taken Psalm 46:10 at heart. Be still and know that I am God. And being still in the sense is not just doing nothing. It's learning how to rest.
Psalm 23, which everybody talks about, we memorized it as kids, but over the past couple of weeks, the part where he says, he leadeth me beside still waters. That one is really, God's leading me to a place where he wants me to be still. Quiet waters. He wants me to be quiet. That's very cool. I have 2 questions for you. The first one, we're asking every guest. I know we've had dinner together and we've talked often. I know there's a few of these, but who has been a great lighthouse, a great light in your life, and how did they illuminate for you?
Man, I've had so many great ones. I've got light shining on me now. And so a great light in my life, if I'm not going to mention my parents, who were also great lights, but one of my mentors, he lives in Jersey. His name is Pastor Lester Taylor, Dr. Lester Taylor. He saw me when I couldn't see myself. I found myself in this kind of purgatory, really. I was in between, man, God, I really want to chase and follow hard after you. I don't know what that looks like. And there's also all this other creative stuff that I want to do. And I don't know what that looks like. And they're both good and they're both right. And because I was so confused in which direction to go, I wasn't in any direction. I was just caught in the middle. So I wasn't doing anything, either one of those things at 100%. And one day he showed up in my life and it was a searchlight. Wow. It was all high beams and he really invested in me in a way that no one ever did. It changed my life.
That's great. That's great. Now we have another tradition. The previous guest gets to ask a question of you and they don't even know that it was you that's going to answer it. How's that? So I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask a question of our next guest, bearing in mind that all the people who we're going to have on our podcast are successful in their own right. They're significant people of influence and have impact. Your role, even at Grace, has sort of changed over the past 6 or 8 months in particular. So when I knew you were going to be next, I go, oh, I do want to hear the answer to this. This is interesting. His question for you is, how do you decide what to delegate while still protecting what matters most? How do you let go? How do you balance letting go, like delegation versus abdication? How do you balance letting go while staying connected? There, wow. That's a good one, isn't it?
That is a good one. Hold on, give me a second to let that simmer for a moment.
Yeah, so how do you balance letting go, but still holding on to those things? And, you and I have had some conversations. I know you do that.
First of all, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. I've been teaching and leading worship for a long time. And the season that I'm currently in, I'm doing more teaching than I am leading worship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. I'm a worship leader. I'm a musician. The moment that I found music and music was introduced in my life, I said, I'm going to do it till the day that I die. And I always thought I was going to do it the same way.
Right.
And I've always been fully invested. And now I'm in this season where God is saying, there's some things you got to let go of. Things you love.
Yeah.
And you have to let go. Things that you're still good at.
Yeah.
And you have to let go. And you've got to delegate those things to someone else while I call you to do and focus on some other things. It doesn't mean that those things are gone, but they're not
or less important.
Yeah, right. but I've got to.
This is what
you
I want
have
for
to
you.
do this too. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know. This is hard to do. So I'm living this reality right now. And I would say, one, humility is I'm trusting the people that God has put me around.
That's good.
And the season that He has placed me in.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of relationship. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of conversations. It takes a lot of sharing of my heart for someone to be able to hear me, but me still walk away and me still have nothing to do with how they plan it out.
Yeah.
I just get to see the end result.
Yeah.
So
now we're back to anxiety again.
Yes. And so I've got to wrestle with that all over again. But it takes a level of humility and saying, God, I trust every step that you have placed in front of me hasn't been wrong. We forget that He also says that He'll walk with us in the darkest valley.
Right.
He doesn't say He'll skip the valley.
No.
He says He'll walk with you in it. And so even in those times where you're struggling, and the darkest valley isn't always trauma or something that's confusion. Sometimes the dark valley is, God, I don't want to leave this thing.
Right.
And I like this thing. And so sometimes that's the darkest valley is I don't necessarily see what's ahead, but I can see my footsteps. And so He's a lamp to your foot and a light to your path. So He'll let you see the path, but that doesn't mean that He'll let you see what the mountaintop looks like or the other side. And so I'm trusting that, God, you're with me every step of the way. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I have the evidence that you've been faithful and you've been right and you've been trustworthy. So I'm leaning into that more than I'm leaning into my feelings. God, help me manage my feelings. Help me manage those moments where I want to call them and go, hey, I didn't like that. No. God, what are you guys doing? God, help me manage those moments and give me peace. But man, humility is the number one thing. And for the person that goes, man, I don't know how to be humble. It's a practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes being humble is biting your lip. Sometimes being humble is, I got to walk in the other direction and go talk to God. Yeah. It is either you trust God and you're going to give it to Him and put it all in His hands like this, or you're not.
Right.
And you can't do both.
I was just talking to a college basketball coach. And funny enough, one of the challenges he has with players is getting them to be humble. And you would think like athletes, especially at a varsity or a professional level, wouldn't need to be humble. And he says, though, a selfish player is the worst kind of player, right? A selfish player isn't a team player. Selfish player hogs the ball and doesn't think about, setting up his teammates. So that's a great question. That's a great answer. But here's the next thing. You got to ask the question that I'm going to take to my next guest. What's something that you might want to hear from someone who is an influencer, who's successful, who's significant, someone who's doing well right now? What thing would you love to hear an answer to? And then you're going to have to follow along and get your answer.
Absolutely. I would want to hear, how do you lead well what you didn't start?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's good. This is recorded, so I don't actually have to write that down. But wow, how do you lead well what you didn't start? You know what? I'm going to want to hear the answer to that as well. You know, I'm up in Maine right now, and I can't wait to come home and be part of the
Can't wait to see
community and
you.
fellowship. Give our love to Tracy, and thanks for being one of the first guests on Keep Shining. We appreciate it.
Man, my pleasure, man. God bless you, bro.
All right, God bless. Take care.
Keep